recently, you may have seen this lovely, ugly mug in the game. And let me tell you, the memes have been juicy. Let me tell you.
I like them.
Here's the first one. You sent me this one the other day with Arnold. It's like Mobile Gamer. And then you
Hello there.
Fingers pointing up. We got Bounty Hunter, Pirate, Arnold pointing at boss being confirmed.
You got your tape. You got your videotape.
I'm going to be the next Kardashian, man. This is how Kardashian got her claim to fame, right? Just got like, click on the go to video.
Woo!
But we're going to keep our conversation going here because lately the developers have doing a lot of communication. So many channels out there on YouTube getting talks with the developers on the interview. I just did one the other day. If you haven't checked it out, go ahead and click on the card. But now they also had a Q&A session once again yesterday on the forums. Lots of communication. So today, while we go ahead and go over the big news that you need to know about in case you didn't read the post, we're going to do a little video of the Rancor raid of Rebels and Resistance versus the Rancor, because the one thing we're going to find out about is that Porkins is not coming to the game. Let's take a moment of silence to honor his memory. All right, that's enough. All right, let's move on to the gameplay now. 3, 2, 1, and go. All right. So here we go. So obviously the main title of this video is going to be about Porkins because they just flat out confirmed that Porkins is not coming to the game. Actually, the response was beautiful, wasn't it? It was just so funny.
We could talk about that first too, right? Like they were like flat out like, no, he's not coming to the game, where like on other places they just said when. And it, you know, what are your thoughts about that? I mean, it's
so I actually never thought that they would actually just straight up deny that a character wouldn't be coming to a game. Usually they always leave that room up, that area up for consideration. They'll say, you know, when it might be coming. We don't know if they ever will come. And they just kind of just said, someone's asked, is Porkins coming to the game? The response was just no. I laughed when I read that. And so I mean, Porkins is obviously not a big name hero in the Star Wars universe, but he has a lot of meme worthiness behind it. But I think
my favorite is the video where he destroys the Death Star. I love that. There's a whole video of him blowing up the Death Star.
That's honestly the whole Star Wars movie right there. I think that's probably how it should have went down. But it was kind of cool to see that they just kind of flat out said, no, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Pretty much when you go down the forum post, people asked about Padme, Shakti, First Order characters that make a meta-defining, Jedi reworks, yada, 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 Millennium Falcon ship, Han Solo. They would just say, we can't say when it'll be released.
Well, that specifically the one about the Millennium Falcon is the one that caught my attention the most, because it's like, when are we going to get like a Han Chewie Millennium Falcon? Or, you know, they said, are we going to get one? And they said, well, we can't say when. That was like pretty straightforward to me. Is like, oh, so the movie's coming out, so hopefully that's soon, right?
I can't imagine them not releasing the original trilogy Millennium Falcon after this Han Solo movie. I think it has to happen because there's been a lot of teasing about ships as well. We got the I think DB Official, if I'm correct, had some conversation with the developers about the ships on the forum post that kind of allude to stuff about ships in the future. So something's got to be happening down the road. And if you're talking about ships, the first ship that comes to most people's minds for even a lay Star Wars person that doesn't really watch much is the Millennium Falcon. That's probably the most iconic ships in the Star Wars universe right there.
Yeah, so, I don't like the word iconic, but definitely the Millennium Falcon is iconic. You know what I mean? That's just clearly, you know what I mean?
But moving on here, I know that's kind of our biggest topic right here, but we have a lot of other stuff, such as, for example, we're talking about mod energy. There's actually talk of mod energy. They have considered it. Right now, there isn't any plan to making a separate energy for mods. They said they're trying to widen the access to mods, such as the mod store. The change to that was actually huge. I actually farm out
I got a ton of great mods out of there, and I post them on Twitter. I mean, I got some over 20. That was amazing.
Right, yeah, I got some too. The problem is it drains your resource a lot, so I had to take a 2-week hiatus from buying stuff out of the mod store because I got broke from buying so many mods out of there.
Oh yeah,
so
ship currency's gone.
Ship currency is, seriously, it just kills all of your currency right there. But so I don't see them making mod energy anytime soon. They're kind of slowly finding new ways of making mods accessible. I'm glad I don't have to really use Cantina energy for the mod challenges anymore. I kind of stopped doing it ever since the mod store. But this is actually, I think a lot of people are excited about this, but some are like, what's the point? I know you were like, that's not really newsworthy to talk about. I think it kind of is, about clone troopers and getting a rework, because there's talks about the Separatist rework kind of on my interview I had. They said, well,
Separatist rework is exciting, but putting helmets on, I mean, I guess some people really want to take the helmets on and off, or maybe they'll come out with skins.
Kind of like Gar Saxon. Gar Saxon has the helmet off when he's in the, when he's spinning around in the main character menu for him, but then in game he puts the helmet on, he's in full battle mode. And the reason why I want to bring this up is because can we maybe imagine like a Clone Trooper rework alongside a Separatist rework? That's a lot in 1 month. But
I would hope they do both, right? I mean, Grievous for sure, because he's just ignored.
They haven't said it's gonna happen this year, but it's just the way it sounds like we're getting close to that Grievous rework. At the first time I'd asked that question way back when I asked him for every interview, it'd start off with like, yeah, we know he's bad. Then a later interview would be, yeah, we know he's bad. We can't wait to make him really good. And now it's soon TM. So I think we're getting close to that point, and I can't imagine them not doing a clone rework.
But if we look at the cadence and what's happening with the movies, you know, probably everything for a while is going to be about the movies. And if we look at like big things that are yet to come out of the game, would be like, you know, Jedi Luke, right? And I don't even think that's going to happen this year, because that's kind of like going to be like the event of the game, right? You know, it's going to be huge. So, you know, they got to do a lot of things in the meantime, and Separatist rework seems kind of like something to do. The other thing too is like Tuskens. Like there's a couple Tuskens that are really hard to farm, and I've been farming them inside of the hard nodes just in case, because wouldn't that be like, you know, like they spring some sort of dark side Anakin requires Tuskens or something like that.
Stop. I don't want to think about that, because I think I have all the Tuskens to 7 stars except that hard battle. Which one is that?
Yeah, there's 2 hard nodes, and I've been like farming that guy. Like it takes a long time. You know,
it takes a
6
while.
months. So
I'm working on Lobot still. After Lobot, I'll work on.
I got Lobot. Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, I don't want to think of a world where Aurora is needed for Anakin Skywalker or Dark Side Anakin or whatever. Oh man. Next question that we thought was really interesting, because I brought this up to the developers a while. Actually, this just this past trip in Sacramento, because the mobile game industry has been really pushing the limits of how far mobile games can go. I mean, look at Fortnite Mobile, man. That game. It's so good, like graphic-wise. I've never seen a game really that pretty. It's almost close to like a PS3 level graphics to some extent. And someone asked a question about a graphics overhaul, and their comment right now is that it's not out of the question. Right now, it's more about priority and player feedback. And the problem that I'm seeing with this, and I think it's really important, because like there's a lot of like we talk about Fortnite Mobile, there's a lot of great graphics and stuff like that, and it'd be kind of cool, for example, like
that game is only on iOS. It's not even on Android.
Yeah,
so
it's not on
like,
Android
and
yet.
it requires like a newer phone. I mean, I would think that maybe like only a quarter of mobile game players could play Fortnite because of the demands. You know, so they would have to make, if they're going to upgrade the graphics, they probably have to make 2 versions of the game or something.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like, for example, Call of Duty, they still, I don't know if the more recent games they still do this, but I remember, like, for example, Black Ops 3, when that game came out, they would make like the next gen, generation console version, like for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and like high up their PCs or whatever. But then they would also make one for the previous generation, such as Xbox 360 and PS3, and they both can play together. They both still have the same competitiveness. It's just that the graphics are different. Instead of a tank that blew up, you just got like a minivan or something. The PS3 version. It's kind of funny. So they could do that for this game. I mean, I'm no developer, but seeing how other big game developers do it, you have a version for, let's say, 6S and newer, or whatever the past 3 years of Android is going forward. And then you still have your version 1.0 for people who are still using an iPhone 4 or 4S, so they can still play the game.
There's downsides to upgrading the graphics. You know, the way they're doing it right now, you know, a lot of people can play the game, but yeah, you run into battery problems. Well, even Android users, you know, have a limited amount of data on their cards, and, you know, and if the size of the game, you know, goes up by tenfold, you know, what is that going to do? If they're just going to cut a lot of people out of the game that are currently playing the game, I don't think that'd be fair. So I see both sides.
The answer right now is just that they're trying to keep the asset size for the game fairly small.
Yeah, the answer is kind of basically no from the way I read it. Yeah.
Right now it's no, but you guys let us know down below, because for me, I would love to get a graphics overhaul. Like there was a trailer a while ago for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and I was like, oh,
beautiful
the graphics look like this. Oh,
beautiful.
I would love it. Like, I mean, I think the game's pretty the way it is now, but if they could ever get to that point where it looks like next-gen graphics, 60 frames per second and stuff like that. Oh man,
unlimited frame rates would be
unlimited
nice.
Frame rates. I mean, that is totally possible. It's just right now the reason why we don't have it. Yeah, it's totally possible.
It's totally possible.
It's just right now we don't see it. It's just because they don't want to make it too tasking on lower devices. And the answer to that is just make 2 separate versions of the game that just have different graphics, and nothing in terms of content and playability and strategy doesn't change. There was a question regarding territory wars, rotating the rewards. I really like this question.
I mean,
And,
those Rolo
you talk about it
shards,
first.
80 Rolo shards just goes right to the shard shop. I mean,
right.
Boy, I'd take some Carbantes. Wouldn't you take some free Carbantes instead of that? That'd be a great idea.
Yeah, like imagine, because they do double rewards. For every one person that completes that territory battle special mission, that counts as 2 shards tossed into the pool for everyone to enjoy later on. Every time someone completes the territory battle mission, you get, let's say, 2 Carbantes.
Right.
Like, I think that would be kind of awesome to see. The reason why we're bringing this up about territory war rotating rewards is because that a lot of the questions from this Q&A talk about gear crunch, and they kind of kept saying that they're finding ways to improve the gear crunch. Like at one point, getting a Carbante would take like a week, but now with it being in various shipments and the shard shop, and you farm them through energy and the battles, it's actually, I get about a Carbante maybe every 3 days, 4 days if I'm really focused on them, which before it would take much longer.
It's better than it was, but you know, at the same time, you know, Gear 12 was been introduced, and you know, and then we're at Gear 12.5, they could bring out Gear, you know, not to 13, but the second half of Gear 12, and you know, so on. I mean, it's just that, you know, Carbantes are still a huge crunch, especially, you know, going from Gear 10 to Gear 11. Which is, there's a big difference between a Gear 9 and a Gear 11. I mean, it's...
Right. When they were asked if they're considering rotating rewards, they're like, well, yes, ... we are, smiley face. So it's on their minds, and I just want to put out some ideas out there. The Carbantes, stun cuffs, maybe I can imagine them putting new characters on there down the road, because with the new Han Solo movie coming out, I mean, this is a whole other video we can make, but there's probably like 2 new troopers coming out. Like they have like a... They had a picture of like a mud trooper or something like that. Really funny question. I never thought of this. But as Territory Wars is becoming more popular, a lot of people are obviously participating. You thought this was actually kind of newsworthy, so I'll let you talk about this. But what happens when there's an odd number of guilds in the whole entire pool of guilds out there? Do you want to kind of explain this?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. So what happens if there's an odd number of guilds? Well, the guild that is kind of, and there's a system, it looks like it's like the lowest GP in a tier, right, is what they said, where they just get first place. It says, you know, match not found, and you just get the first place rewards, which is pretty awesome, right? The
last thing to really talk about, because we have like maybe 2 more minutes here, is regarding a Galactic War hard node, or hard mode. Like, for example, I mean, you and I both absolutely love the changes to Galactic War and how we can sim it through. I mean, my goodness,
it was a galactic chore. I mean, it just took so much time.
It was the galactic chore. And there are some people, though. There are a lot of people out there, I see this a lot, that want something close to a sandbox mode, and this is a popular question. And in the previous Q&A, we forgot to talk about this, but they said that they don't have any intentions as of now to do a sandbox mode based off what they're seeing in Galactic War. And I'm not sure if they should be using Galactic War data and completion to show if they should do a sandbox mode, because they're 2 different... They're slightly different versus the Galactic War and Sandbox mode. But right now, the closest thing to a sandbox mode we have is the last battle of Galactic War. And right now, even the last battle of Galactic War is kind of easy. They reduced the difficulty a couple months ago. And some people want a hard last battle of Galactic War to kind of test out their rosters. And it's the closest thing we can get to a sandbox mode. I don't think you and me would use that.
I don't think they should up the difficulty until it's simmable. If it's simmable...
Yes,
and you have the option of playing something that's challenging, and you know, like let's say I want to practice with my first order team and see how it does with the mod sets that I have. You know, I want a fairly good challenge,
right?
If I'm going to test it, and if Galactic War is going to be the only place that I can sandbox things, but you know, I think it would be a huge mistake to make it very difficult if it's not simmable. I at least want the option to sim it. If I'm just like I can't beat this team, sim.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think so as well. Once you can sim it, then fine. But I remember there was a period where we had to go through 3 top-end meta teams throughout the Galactic War, and it was a pain. It was annoying. Yeah, because I just do Galactic War for the rewards. That's really it.
That was a different time when Galactic War was you know, even before raids even, you know, then raids was an important part. And now we've got territory wars and territory battles. So it's kind of a legacy game mode that should be simmable because there's so much new content, and I need to spend my time doing territory wars and territory battles rather than you know, 40 minutes or 20 minutes or even 10 minutes on Galactic
I mean,
War.
we're both big advocates for a sandbox mode in the near future. Hopefully to add something like that so people can test out teams without having to waste arena attempts, without having to move mods around too much. And like then, I don't like doing that much. I'd rather have a sandbox mode. That's the benefit of the test accounts, because we can test stuff in the test accounts. Not with our mods in Forge. We can't like just take our mods from the game and use our mods that we have, so we have to kind of get close to it. But that's what I would
really like to see, like a daily arena like within your guild where you play against your guild mates and you can actually because it's very easy to communicate with your guild mates and what mods
Discord,
are this.
stuff,
I put this team in, and maybe have like a friendly competition or some sort of guild reward, and that could serve as a sandbox / some sort of similar game mode to the arena. That would be a lot of fun, I think.
We're gonna end the video right there. We're gonna do a part 2. My list is still a lot. It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah,
So
it's huge.
Go over to Mobile Gamer's channel where we're doing part 2 of this video. So any last words you want to say before we take off? I mean, we still got more to talk about, but anything else you want to say before we get going?
I really was hoping for Porkins, and I'm just crushed that we're not going to get, was it Jeb or Jed Porkins?
I don't know. I don't even know his first name. It's all about Porkins. It's all he'll ever be remembered for. So before we take off.
The days they weren't so politically correct where it was okay to like cut people's arms off and animals and give the guy that was a little bit overweight name like Porkins. That only in 1977. Never again,
only
right?
1977. But as we take off, let's take one more last moment to remember Porkins and his never arrival to the game.